Hi all. Uh, very warm welcome to today's session. I'm Stravanti, commodity analyst of Peanut, representing Evental Global Advisory Private Limited. It is a pleasure to have such a diverse global audience joining us today. I truly appreciate your participation. And as we all know, Argentina continues to play a vital role in global peanut industry, particularly as one of the major exporters of high quality peanuts and value added peanut products. Today in our session, we are here to focus on Argentina peanut crop and market outlook. So we are here delighted to have an eminent industry expert with us today who will share valuable insights into current market situation, production outlook, trade dynamics, and prospectus. We'll keep the session focused and interactive, followed by Q&A session. A quick note to all the participants, there will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, and you're welcome to share your insights or questions in the chat box anytime during the session. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, Mr. Edoardo Fracanzani, sir. He is an executive director of the Argentina Peanut Chamber. Mr. Edoardo joined the Argentina Peanut Chamber in 2016 and has played an important role in promoting and strengthening Argentina's peanut industry on the global stage. He holds a bachelor degree in political science and MBA from the School of Management at University of Torino, with a PhD in contemporary politics from the University of Rome. Prior to joining the chamber, he built an impressive career as a corporate executive, management consultant, and university professor, with professional experience across Italy, United States, Brazil, and Argentina. With his experience in international business, policy, and the peanut sector, we are privileged to have him share his perspectives with us today. Uh, Now I request Mr. Edoardo sir to take us through his presentation, and sir, the stage is yours. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Saravanti, for this wonderful presentation. It's really an honor to have been invited here by the Heaven Tell organization and be able to talk about Argentina and its peanut industry. So without further ado, let me share my presentation. Here we go. Let me put it in full mode. Okay. So I will start. So the idea is to take a general look at the Argentina peanut industry and particularly the current situation of the crop and the performance of Argentina peanuts in the international market. In this first slide, you can see the planted area in the country in the last 6 or 7 seasons. You can see that there's quite variability depending on the season. That depends on the number of issues of variables. First of all, probably relative prices of crops. Of course, we know that peanuts in Argentina as elsewhere also compete for the soil. So depending on the international prices, we can move up or down the planted area of the country. We had an especially very big area in the previous season in 2024, 2025. You can see the piles with 221,000 hectares, which was really a historic record for Argentina, at least in the last decades or so. So that was a very big harvest, also because the yields accompanied the number of hectares. So we can see in the following slide, the production was very high. this probably had also an effect on international prices worldwide. Also because last year, 24-25 was a pretty good year for peanut production, not only in Argentina, but also in Brazil, the US, and generally around the world. So there was a lot of peanuts to sell, and prices suffered a little bit because of that. Now, this year, 25, 26, that's the the production that was planted last year. Planting in Argentina takes place roughly from October to the beginning of December, whereas the harvest usually starts in April, May, sometimes depending on weather condition. It goes up to June, as in this year, even the beginning of July. Uh, but so the planting season of last year and what we are harvesting today is quite smaller. As you can see, 384,000 hectares is our estimate for the current season. And of course, that was a downsizing due to restructuring of the peanut business for our main companies if compared to the previous year. Now, just a couple of words about the figures. You can see in the slides that this data comes from directly from the government. These are the CISA data, which is a collection of um, assessments, declarations actually, by the growers that they have to provide to the government by law and for fiscal purposes. And as a matter of fact, it's quite a reliable source because uh, growers that do not comply with these declarations may face penalties. So it's a, as I said, a quite reliable number. The government provides us with the final total at the end of the season, which is in fact 384,000 hectare. As a chamber, we perform our own estimates. Mainly throughout internal surveys within the members. Our members represent a little more than 96% of the total exports of peanut from Argentina. So they're pretty much all in there. And our estimates, it's very, very close to this CISA figure that you see here of 384,000 hectares. The difference is a lot smaller than 1%. So we are very aligned, and we are pretty sure that this is the correct number for the season. Okay, let's take a look now just how this area is distributed within Argentina. Most of the people who work in the peanut sector worldwide know that Cordoba is really the province within Argentina where peanut production is concentrated. Here you can see the distribution of the planted area that is of a primary production of peanuts. Of course, Cordoba used to be a little even more important in the past, getting close to 80 or 80 something percent of the total area. It declined just a little bit in the last few seasons. Now it's around 70, 75% of the total. Whereas other provinces, Buenos Aires in particular, have grown very much, almost 100,000 hectares in the previous seasons, down this season, as all the rest of the provinces, to about 60,000 hectares. Altogether, what happened in the last few years is that the peanut planting area have been moving a little bit towards the south, a little lower temperature, and it was also helped to by the introduction of shorter cycle peanuts. That is, peanuts that can be harvested relatively early, even though the average temperature might be a little lower as the peanut area moves a little bit south. But along with Cordoba and Buenos Aires, as I was saying, other very important provinces are La Pampa, San Luis, and particularly Santa Fe, which has been growing in importance in the last two seasons. And you can see here the total, as we said before, with 384,000 hectares. Just one last remark. Um, Now, Cordoba counts, as we said, for the planted area, a little more than 70% of the total now. But in terms of processing, in terms of actual peanut processing and production, and then exports, Cordoba is almost 100% of the total production nowadays. The shellers, the peanut factories are all based in practically all based in the province of Cordoba. So this remains really the central area of Argentina for peanuts, right in the middle of the country. Okay, here is a look at the total production in the last few seasons. Of course, the total production derives from the number of hectares planted multiplied by the average yield. Now, the yield, depends on a number of factors, mostly climate conditions from the time during the plant growing cycle, from planting to harvesting. And we can see here that also in terms of yield, that we have a pretty good variation depending on the season. We have situations such as the one we had in the 2018 season, or closer to us, 22-23, with a severe or rather severe drought, where the yield in kernel was lower than 2 tons per hectares. This is all, remember, in kernels. So sometimes some countries rather display the yield in shell, which is, of course, would be higher. Usually shell, together with other parts of the peanuts where are not actually used after processing, represent around 30% of the weight. So we can easily calculate the same figure in shell by dividing by 0.3. But anyway, last season we had a fairly good yield, as we were discussing, of 2.56, which is a little higher than the average of the last, say, 10 seasons. Now, this year, our last forecast, which was from a couple of months ago, was 2.42 tons per hectare. This is also the number that we announced in the World Peanut Meeting, the international event we had in Mendoza in March. And was subsequent to an internal survey, which, as I said before, we run periodically among our members in the chamber. But maybe we can revise this number. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. But one last look at the changes throughout the last decade or so in terms of overall production. You can see that we have peaks such as last year, with a very big planted area and fairly good, even higher than average yields. And we came up to more than 1.3 million tons production in kernels, which is about 1.8, 1.85 million tons in shell. Now, for this year, our forecast based on the yield and the planted area is just a little less than 1 million tons, 9.917 thousand tons in kernel, which is about close to 1.3 million tons in kernels. I'm sorry, 1.3 million tons in shell. Okay, this is just a quick look at the weather condition at the beginning of the cycle for the last season. As I was saying, planting season in Argentina is between October, especially November, sometimes beginning of December. And then crucial points during the plant life cycle for peanuts are January and February. Now, you can see a temperature map here for the 3 first months of the year. Not too hot in January, temperature rising in February, and lowering again in March. Also, in terms of rain, we didn't have much historically in January. A little better the situation in February, and maybe a little more than the average during March. So up to March, the situation was fairly good, even though maybe the rains weren't as expected in January. But we did have a fairly good amount in February to compensate to some extent. Now rain is a very important issue, of course, in Argentina. Most of the peanut area, maybe almost all of it, in fact, does not use artificial irrigation. So really, we depend on the weather conditions. And in the last decade or so, we saw a couple of examples of severe drought, like in 2018, we saw before the piles, and closer to us, 2023, with very low yields due to very low rains. Okay. Now let's take a look at the last few months during the life cycle of the plants and the situation that we have today in terms of harvesting condition. We had a compensation of rains, the ones that we didn't get in January. We started getting in March and also the subsequent months in a fairly abundant way. And you don't want too much rain closer to harvesting season because that complicates all the harvesting operations, starting with the difficulties that machinery have in order to reach the lots. The tracks are not as good as, and the soil gets very heavy. So it really makes the harvesting operation complicated. And we had a situation of this kind starting by the end of March, but even more so in April and May. Also, starting in May, we had some peak of low temperatures in a certain area within the peanut production, especially farther south. So in some cases, in some area, we reached minus 9 degrees Celsius. And of course, in those conditions, some frost is inevitable. Which of course causes some quality issues for the peanuts of those specific areas. Now, as of today, we're about up to 65, almost 70% of the harvesting performed. Still 30 or a little bit more to go. And this is a delay in comparison with the standard schedule during the year, due especially to these two issues, especially the rains and humidity of the soil due to heavy rains, protected rains in the last few months. Now, the probable outcome of this situation is that while the first half of the harvest was in very good or at least good conditions, the other half will be with a lower standard of quality, probably smaller kernels in some cases. And the lower quality, of course, is the issue, even though at this time we have no seen a situation of really aflatoxin contamination, as most uh, people in the peanut business worldwide know. The Argentina has this particular feature because of the temperatures and weather condition. We have a very low rate of aflatoxin contamination, and of course, it's something that we monitor always constantly. Also, given the fact that the European Union is our main market. Okay, so in summary, as I was mentioning, we have about half of the harvest in good or even very good conditions. The other half, due to the situation of the rains that I mentioned, is a has might have some quality issues, and most likely it's something we will do in the last few weeks. We might have to revise down the yield that we initially expected at 2.42, which is already a little lower than the 10-year average, but we might have to revise that and provide a lower estimate in the next few weeks. Okay, so now let's take a look at the performance of the Argentina peanut exports worldwide. This is a figure of the last few seasons. Actually, sorry, this is a figure of the last calendar years in terms of total exports divided by the main four segments of exported peanuts. We have in the blue area of the pile represents shelled peanuts. That's HPS and blanched peanuts altogether, which is close to 90%, 85% maybe of the total. Then we have elaborated product that includes roasted, fried, and peanut butter, which is also a significant part of the total. We have peanut oil, and lastly, the smaller section of the piles is the expeller, the residues from the extraction of oil from the peanuts, which is used mainly as feed or as an element for the production of animal feed. But if you consider the exports altogether, its value in U.S. dollars, we can see a pretty steady trend towards an increase. Looking at the long run from 2018 to last year. And last year we hit a historical record of passing $1.2 billion worth of exports, combining all four segments, peanut segments all together. Now, of course, if you consider exports in tons, certainly last year was even higher if compared to previous years. This is due to the fact that, as we will see, average prices per ton last year were lower than the historical average due to a very strong supply last year. Okay, but so these are the figures, and we can take a look now at the variability of exports, taking into consideration the last 3 years or so. You can see very strong variance depending on the month and especially the season, considering the weather condition, as we mentioned before, talking about peanut production in Argentina. We probably all remember everybody who worked in the peanut industry drought, which affected the harvest in 2023 and of course also the availability of peanuts during those years. Now, I'm sorry, 2023, 2024. Now, 2024, we had a significant improvement. You can see the exports peaking within the first months of the second semester of 2024, and then maintaining a relatively steady high level for all the months during 2025 and 2026, especially the second half of 2025, where the harvest from that huge planted area that we saw before started being available as it was processed by the peanut factory. Okay, and this is a look at the average prices of the Argentina peanut exports. You can see here the prices divided between HPS and Blanchard. The peanuts belong into the 120242 harmonic system chapter in the lower line, and the elaborated product in the upper line. With the prices going up in 2023 due to lower supply, and then with the big area that we mentioned in 2025 suffering the decline, whereas in the last few months we have seen a more steady trend with prices, and the expectation is of increasing prices in the next few months due to very low or relatively low availability, as we discussed. So this is a look of the distribution of Argentinian peanut exports by area. We're looking here at the Blanchard and the HPS peanuts exported. As most peanut operators know, our main market are the European Union countries, where we have for last year close to 490,000 tons, which represents more than 65% of the total. If we add other European countries, that includes the United Kingdom mostly and some other countries, we go up to close to 75% of the total. Of course, these are markets that require a very high level of quality, and especially security in terms of contamination. But Argentina is also present in many other markets around the world. We're exporting to more than 100 countries in the last few years. So we have strong exports also in Africa, especially in countries such as Algeria, South Africa, historically, and others, big markets in the Far East and Pacific region, starting with Australia and New Zealand, very big markets for us. And especially last year, 2025, big market was represented by China, which purchased many, many tons of peanuts from Argentina. Usually, traditionally, Argentina exports mainly peanut oil to China in the last 10 years or so. But last year, due to the strong availability, maybe prices helped a little bit also. We were able to export many tens of thousands of of peanuts and kernel to China as well. And of course, the Americas, big markets for us are, well, also the US. We have a quota of both peanut kernels and peanut butter in the United States, but also South American markets, starting with Chile, Colombia, and Peru to some extent, are Uruguay are significant markets for Argentina as well. This is a look talking about last year at the single countries as markets. These are the first 15 destination of experts. The Netherlands, of course, is number one by far. We now all know that there are many companies in the Netherlands that imports from Argentina and then distribute throughout the European Union and also outside the European Union. But the surprise from last year was the importance of China as a market, second countries for a number of tons with 71,000. And then we have the UK, very big market, Poland, France, Australia, Germany, Italy, Spain, Russia, very important as well. But you can see that European Union countries, along with the UK, are really the main focus of the Argentina exports. Okay, this is a closer look to the European Union in terms of imports, and this gives us a sense of the market share of Argentina in this particular market and some selected market within the European Union. But altogether, in normal condition, that is, unless there is a shortage in production due to drought or some other weather issue, Argentina is able to maintain a market share in Europe of close to 75%. This is higher in some countries. In Italy, it goes up to 90%. For instance, it's very high in France as well. Spain is a little lower. Here, China and some other origin have a little bigger market share if compared to the rest of the continent. And this is just the same data, but look from the point of view of a chart. You can see the area and the market share in the European Union market of Argentina. It's the dark blue area at the bottom. If you accept the drought situation as in 2023, you can see usually that the market share, as we said, is about 75%. Okay, and this is a look at the import prices of selected market within the European Union. There are some differences here. Some countries are strong also in imports of peanuts, which belong to the 120242 chapter, but are used mainly as animal feed, bird feed. In fact, so that lowers the price a little bit. This is the case of Germany and also of the UK, even though it's not displayed here. But you can see overall a pretty similar trend, of course, as the average prices of export of Argentina, which also confirms the close commercial relationship between the European Union and in Argentina for the peanuts market. Okay, this is also an average import price for Europe in the last few months, which basically describes the same trend. Just a few words about how we organize the peanut production and distribution and exports in Argentina, and the importance that sustainability has and it has had, especially in the last few years. In 2022-23, we started a program with the SCI institution. This is a an entity, a nonprofit entity that based in Switzerland, but operates throughout the European Union and worldwide, really, to promote farming, sustainable production in many parts of the world. Members of this entity are very strong food companies within Europe and the United States and elsewhere. And many of them are a customer of the Argentina peanut sector. And starting in 2022, we started working together in program to make um, peanut production more sustainable. We had about half of the peanut area certified in terms of the FSA, which is a standard of the SCI organization, with a number of elements of sustainability measured and certified for the first stage of these partnership with SCI. We're starting a new one this year. This concerns more closely the emission of carbon prints and will regard certainly more than half of the peanut production area of the country. Um, Okay, this is basically what we're talking about. Not only carbon emission in the production of peanuts, but also the evolution of soil nutrients, the soil carbon sequestration, and other elements of paramount importance in the sustainability of production and sustainability of the soil, in particular, issues such as carbon emission in the subsequent stages of the peanut production cycle, and pesticides residue, which we all know is a very big issue for exports to Europe. One last remark, if you allow me, the international initiatives of our chamber throughout the years, especially in the last 5 years. We developed the World Peanut magazine. We are now about to issue the number 20 issue, which makes 4 years of um, uh, um, regular issues every 3 months during the last 4 years, as I was reminding. And the other international initiative is the World Peanut Meeting. We started online during the pandemic in 2020. We had a couple of editions there. And then in 2024, we had the first in-person edition in Cordoba with the World Peanut Meeting and the now classic supply and demand panels, and the second in-person edition in March in Mendoza just a couple of months ago. And we're now preparing the next one for 2028. We don't know yet know in what city within Argentina, but we will soon be ready to disclose and start receiving participation for 2028. Well, thank you very much. I will stop the sharing of the presentation, and I'm available for a question if there are any.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. That was a highly informative presentation, which covering the complete pictures of Argentina peanut industry. It was great to get the complete picture of how the Argentina peanut crop is and how the planted area, what was the impact on weather, and how are the production trends and harvest performance by in Argentina. So now I will request, I will move on to the Q&A session, and I encourage all the participants to submit their questions through the chat box. We will take as many as questions as the time permits, and Yes, thank you once again. And we begin with this today, and we look forward for the responses. And I will look forward to the chat box. And there is a question on the price, sir. So if you on there is asking like what is the price on the USD bar LB? So
I'm sorry, Sharavanti, can you repeat that?
yes, Elton Alvis, sir, do you want to take this question? You have asked on the price, so can you give clear picture like what do you want on this? Okay. In the meantime, I'll go for next question. Like how
Yeah.
do Argentine exporters feel about the current 20% selection chance by import into European Union?
Yes, that will certainly be a challenge. We have been talking with many parties in Europe. For instance, the new European Groundnut Association. They had some remarks concerning this, and considering the number of containers that arrive in Rotterdam alone every year, and the capacity of actual controls for peanuts within the port. Their estimate is that it would be very difficult to comply with the regulation, but of course it has been introduced by the European Commission, and we'll comply, and we'll do everything we can to make it as smooth as possible. But we do expect that will be practical complications due to the high volume of peanut from Argentina, as we were seeing in the presentation, about 70% of the peanut that arrives in Europe comes from Argentina, and 20% of that being controlled will cause severe problems from a logistics standpoint. We foresee, and of course also increased cost.
Okay, thank you, sir. And coming to
Well,
next question. Yes, yes, sir. Please continue.
no, I was just going to say that this measure by the European Commission is due to a rise in the number of rapid alerts in 2025 of peanut from Argentina. Um, and we have been discussing this within the chamber many times amongst our member, and what we're doing is we're increasing controls from the factory in order to have a very quick reduction of the number of cases, and hopefully we're confident that very quickly we can return to the previous situation, which was for Argentina of zero minimum controls for aflatoxin.
Okay, yeah, thank you, sir. And I have one question. Like Argentina remains one of the largest exporter of peanuts. Like, do you expect there is the strongest demand during second half of 2026 as well, sir? Considering the weather challenges you are facing currently.
Demand of peanuts may go up, but these are very slow trends in the sense that whereas the supply can go up and down to a significant extent in the short period in terms of demand, even reduction or increases are very slow and they happen in time. What we can say is that given that there is a general reduction in supply this year because there is a reduction in terms of planted area, not only in Argentina, and that we have seen has been a severe reduction, but also a very severe reduction in Brazil and the United States. So due to that, and these are the main parties that export peanuts to Europe, for example. So we can see that the balance between supply and demand should be a lot more favorable to supply in this case, and that's why we expect prices going up in the next few months.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And okay, one from Senthil Kumar, sir. There is a question. Peanut oil is extracted in expeller machine process, or you go for solvent extraction? Since volume in your country is high, so how do you do that?
It's mostly experiment machine. I understand in some cases some of the factories to some extent I think relatively small may use solvent as well, but mostly expeller.
Yeah, great. I hope that is answered. And uh, coming to next question, like how do you currently access the like competition from other major producing countries like Brazil, United States, China, and India for the global peanut market, sir? All the Argentina.
Yeah, well, competition is because of course we are all peanut producer. Of course, we know China is by far the biggest, then India number two, and so on. But even though we are all peanut producer, uh, the markets are relatively isolated to some extent. What I mean by this is that traditionally Argentina and a little bit the US and Brazil export to mostly Europe, whereas China has its most markets within East Asia. That's where it exports mostly, or African producer export mostly to China. So the competition is there, but we can say that each producer has its own traditional expertise in particular market and a particularly strong position there.
Yeah, right, sir. So coming to sustainability, you have been covered that Argentina peanut market is now covered under sustainability certification. So how important has this become, sir, now for European buyers and buyers from Argentina?
Well, it has become certainly of paramount importance. It's something that to some extent this is due only not only for the social responsibility of the peanut producers and exporters, but also to commercial reasons. As our main market is the European Union, this is also one of the areas of the world where we can say not only the administration, but also the population has a particular sensitivity towards sustainability issues. So it's almost natural that we also attach a very big importance to sustainability because of, as I was saying, not only responsibility, social responsibility for production, but also for commercial reason. But then there is another issue for Argentina in particular, is that here peanut companies are very vertically integrated. So they cover all the different stages of the peanut production cycle from primary production, that is planting and harvesting, to industrial processing, and then commercialization, exports. they do all of that, and so they have a very big stake in making, for example, soil sustainable in the long run. Because if we lose that, if these companies lose that, they lose the overall business. So it's fundamental, also due to the structure of the peanut sector in Argentina, to be sustainability aware.
Yeah, great, sir. And I have one last question. Before that, if the audience, if you have any questions, you can unmute and speak, or else you can drop in the chat box. In the meantime, I'll complete my question. So, what are the biggest challenges you are facing, sir, in the current peanut industry today from in Argentina, when it comes to weather or production costs or labor, logistics, or any or from the global competition? So,
Yes, there are several, really many. One is the generation of new varieties of peanuts that has been growing. In fact, in the last few years, now we have three major sources of new varieties: two private companies which belong to the chamber, and a public one, the INTA. But well, other challenges are within sustainability, as we mentioned a little bit. Another that we mentioned to some degree, and about which many companies are working on, is the dependency on weather condition, which is good to some extent. For example, because the fact that we have no artificial irrigation lowers carbon footprints, which is good for the environment, but it does create a problem in terms of availability of product in certain in certain season where the lack of rain is particularly harsh. So some companies are working on some form of irrigation that can both preserve the environment, but also, let's say, save the situation where the weather conditions are particularly tough.
yes, okay. So there are a few couple of questions in the chat box, sir. I could see what are the current offers for crude peanut oil from Argentina for 2% FFA?
What percentage?
2% FFA. What are the
Yes.
current offers?
Yeah, I don't have that figure right now. I can go back to you on that specific issue. But the production of oil really depends a lot on one issue particularly, which is the average quality of the harvest. We have seen seasons where we had very good weather condition, very good quality of the harvest, and that leaves very little to oil production. As usually what we do is we use the lower quality part of the harvest for the production of oil. And of course, in situation of very big planted areas such as last year, lots of the peanuts end up in the production of oil. But in regular condition, especially this year, my guess would be that we were going to have less production of export of oil than the average of the last few seasons.
Okay. How about the export convenience and the bottlenecks from Argentina, sir?
Bottlenecks, well, certainly the issue we mentioned recently, we're not talking about the current season, but in general, the absence of artificial irrigation, which is something that we're working on to some extent, that could represent a bottleneck if the weather conditions are not good, as it happened in 2018 and 2023, as we have seen. Then there is the issue of soil availability. We all know that peanut needs a particular kind of soil in order to grow. We have a fairly big area in the middle of Argentina, particularly in the province of Cordoba, but we need to rotate peanuts once every 4 years. So that the amount of soil that we have available within the country for sustained growth is kind of limited, but that's one of the reasons why we have to continue generating new varieties that can be planted also in soils that are not so hospitable as we might have with the current varieties. So it's something we're working on as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, Argentina peso has been depreciated by 20%. How has been its impacted the peanut business?
Well, yeah, what happened from the point of view of the typical Argentinian sheller situation has been that the costs in dollars rise pretty significantly compared to a couple of years ago. And that has exerted a pressure on margins because, of course, the income as it used to be is still in dollars. We can remind everybody that the Argentinian peanut production is exported also by 90%. The local market is just really less than 10% of the total sales. So the sales denominated in the local Argentina currency are very low. So the situation that we have now compared to a few years ago, a couple of years ago, is that we continue to have the same revenues in dollars, but the costs in dollars have risen to some extent. So we do suffer oppression of margins, and of course that's not easy to manage.
Uh, Great, sir. Thank you so much. And I hope we have covered all the questions. So thank you for the patience and answering each and every question, sir. Now I request Mr. Sivastava, sir, Director of Evental Global Advisory Private Limited, to deliver his closing remarks and vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shravanti, and thank you, Mr. Edoardo. It's wonderful having you so early in the morning. You are available for us, and at the short notice, we have a good gathering, about 50 people. Thank you for sharing the latest update on the Argentina peanut sector. To all the people who have joined, I hope you got benefited from Mr. Eduardo's presentation on the crop, the weather impact, the ongoing harvest progress, the export-import trends, and further directions. He is a person who is always very, very, very passionate about peanuts. This sustainability initiative, what you're seeing, he has been instrumental and been a part of that. And I would say, like, Argentina is one of the countries which is leading this initiative in peanuts, and which is very important to recognize. And thank you so much, sir, for your presence, for your updates, and for your insights. Thank you, all participants, for your active listening and keeping us busy in the chat. With this, we bring this session to a conclusion. The chat window will be open for next 10 minutes. You can chat with your fellow delegates in private. As we go along, it's my duty to invite you all to World Sesame and Peanut Conference, which this year is going to be in Ho Chi Minh City between 30th August and 1st of September 2026. Look forward to seeing you all there. It's going to be very exciting. As you all know, ASEAN is a large market both for sesame as well as peanuts, with over 750,000 tons annual imports in peanuts. It's an exciting opportunity there. Indonesia leads that market. That's for another day. But for now, let's digest and imbibe all the information about Argentina. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vatsa. It's
Thank
been
you
an
very
honor.
much. Thank you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
Thank you, Shravati. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.